back here with another video on the Franchi Affinity 3. We do a lot of videos on this. If you already subscribed to us, watched our videos, we've talked about these guns a lot. They're very popular. Great gun. But what I'm going to do today is show you how to take it apart. Just talk about brief cleaning, some known issues with shotguns just in general. We'll start off with the choke. I had the hardest time getting this choke off of here about a month ago. I couldn't get it out. I had it soaking. I had to pull the barrel off. I had it soaking. The barrel sitting in a big cup of PB Blaster, a whole can, so that it would absorb up into it. I tried the heat method, the boiling method. I looked at every which way to how to get this choke out of here, and it literally took well over a week to get it out of there. It was soaking. Finally, I found a old choke tool that I had that was able to fit in a socket in a weird way and to loosen that bad boy up. And I finally got it out of there. And obviously the choke sticks out of there quite a bit. This is the Pattern Master Code Black Goose. It's a great choke. What happens obviously over time, excuse my dog, he always likes to come down here when we film, is obviously oxidation, everything like that. But a lot of it contributes to us leaving it in our waterproof floating gun case or gun case. It holds moisture. They keep a lot of dirt and moisture and everything inside them if you're not opening up. So I've gotten a lot better habit of actually just taking the gun out of that case when I get done with the hunt, drying it out. I leave the port open so the air can get up through there. And I'm also making sure I'm keeping some oil on this choke because it is a pain to get it out of there. You don't want to have to deal with that. If you want to be able to change your choke to go do a skeet shoot, whatever it be, because I do a lot of charity skeet shoots, and hitting clays with this full choke from Pattern Master sometimes is a treat. So I like to change it over to modified or improved. I don't even remember honestly what I use. I have it wrote down because my brain, it just doesn't work the greatest sometimes. But let's get into this. So the other thing I thought about too was the trailer. A lot of times we would leave these guns in the goose trailers, and what would happen with that is they're in the gun case and there's no air movement in those trailers. Those trailers have a hard time because you can't leave the vents open. You never know when it's going to rain, snow. I live in Michigan. So just some other things for you to think about if you're a gun owner and you leave them in the trailer in their cases. That moisture gets in there. Dirt. Those cases are a pain in the ass to clean out. If you don't unzip them. If you can't unzip yours and it's just a slot, you got to figure out a way. Stick your hand up in there, clean it out, get all that dirt out of there, because in hunts, we always get mud on our stocks, and then it just eventually falls down in there, depending on which way you store your gun. So just keep those clean as well. It'll help clean your gun, keep your gun performance up. So first thing off, always make sure that your gun's empty anytime you're doing any cleaning or anything like that, or you're taking it apart. Obviously check your mag tube, open up the port charging handle, make sure it's clean. So let's get into it. First thing is obviously let's put our charging handle forward and undo the end cap here. I've had this thing get stuck a lot too. That's why this has a bunch of marks on it from a tool. Actually, you still use a rag and it actually still marred this all up. So just I put a little bit of oil on this now to keep it. I always check when I'm on the hunts. So pull that right off there. Super easy. Foregrip will slide right off. Boom. I just cleaned this the other day, so it's nice and clean. I always inspect it when I pull my gun apart to make sure there's no cracks or anything like that. Make sure everything's in there like it's supposed to be. Overall, a lot of rust, if anything like that. Next thing you do is pull your charging handle out. Inspect this because mine is bent. I literally, when I was cleaning it the other day, I found out it was bent. It's got some pretty good stress marks on it. I don't know what happened inside the boat, whatever it be. Stacking stuff on there, because a lot of times we don't put the guns in the gun locker because we can't get into them and you just got so much stuff in there. So we just don't mess with it. We just keep them in their case. So we'll pull this off there. That slides right off on your rail here. This all comes apart real easy. Boom. Rail. Your spring here. This spring right here, you can pull this off. It just slides right off real easy off your mag tube. It does get caught up on the threads a little bit, but it'll slide right off there. You obviously want to make sure that stays lubed. The next thing is you only need a couple tools. So I have this punch I went and got at the hardware store. It's a 1/16 pin punch. It's got a flat end on it, so we're not messing stuff up. And what I'll do is this pin right here in the middle of the gun here, as you push through, you gotta, sometimes it's just like that first little, we'll go for the other side here. boom, pulls out of there. Sometimes it pulls out easier one way than the other, as you just seen. So pops right out of there. So what makes it a little bit easier is make sure your release right there is out of the way. Sometimes it gets stuck because when you go to put it back in, that's where you're gonna have your issue. So our trigger mechanism's out, all that's out. Boom, we can look down in there. She is nice and clean, no issues, because I just cleaned it. So that's that right there. Make sure you're always checking over all your trigger mechanism. Air could be your best friend. A nice fine air sprayer, like from an air compressor, is blow all that out, get all the gunk out of there. You know, clean it with a nice solvent. There's so many different solvents out there. I was going to show what I use, but it really don't matter because there's so many different ones. The next part to pull this all apart here, loose a bolt here, is there's a little pin back here that's got a rubber grommet on it, like an O-ring. Take a nice little thing in there, and I completely forgot about that. So you don't want that to happen. So what you're supposed to do is put your thumb here. Where did that go? Flying out. So trial by error, right? I've done this a million times, and I know better. But let's put that back in there. That's your firing pin. You don't want to lose that. That's very important. So the best way to do that, let's put this all back together here, is, all right, so put your thumb here on the back side. This is right here. This is what hits and makes your firing pin come through. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put your thumb on the back side here, and you can even get that with your finger sometimes, depending on how long it's been since you've cleaned it. Pull it out, put that in a safe spot there so you don't lose it, because it gets caught somewhere. It's going to go down a friggin' heat vent, whatever. So here's our spring, our firing spring, and our firing pin. Don't want to lose that. It will go flying across the room as you just seen. So next thing is, if you want to pull this apart, just do a little wiggle there. That'll all come apart. So there's that pin there that has a hole through it where your firing pin and spring go through. Don't lose it. Don't lose any of it. Let's make it real easy. Okay, now that's out of there, nice and clean. Inspect it, make sure your extractor finger, if you need to pull that out, there's a pin in there you can push through. I've pulled it out once just to do it. And then here's your inertia spring inside here. So when you're cleaning it, make sure you're cleaning all the inside of this out real well with your solvent cleaners. Use air if you need to. Toothbrush works really good. You know, clean all this stuff. Make sure when I oil all my stuff, I just do a light coating. You don't want a ton in there because it's going to grab the dirt and everything that's floating around in the air from the wind and everything else. It's crazy how much stuff you'll collect out of there. But throw it all back together is real easy. So back here, it's got a little line on this. I got another camera here I'll show. So there's a little line on there. Obviously, that coincides with the hole that runs through there where your firing pin goes through. So stick that through there just like that. It's easier to set it on the table. Make sure there's adequate lube on there. Your oil, I use Rem oil. Put on there. Stick that through. And trust me, you'll know if you don't have that pin in there correctly because it won't slide through. So real easy. Then you take your little pin there with the O-ring on it, push it, make sure it's good, and then just visually inspect it, make sure she all runs through. There's your charging handle hole. It's all good. It's nice and clean and oiled up as you can see here. All right, another thing on here on your rail is make sure you got adequate oil on here because this does just sit on there, but you can actually see a little bit of wear. There is just a tiny bit of play there. Over time, obviously, it's going to wear down. We obviously want these to last because, as you can tell, mine's beat up. This gun's, I think, 3 years old. She's taking a beating. So let's put her back together real quick. It's real easy. Slide down here, and then pop your charging handle back in. Boom. Here. So that just slides in there just like that, okay? So I'll take the back off real quick for you real quick. Boom. So before I do that, before you put that in there, it's easier obviously, and I don't think you can put it in the other way. I should have tried it. But here on the back side, there's a little lip here. You'll see down in there. This just slides down in. And then push your release right there because it'll get caught on there. And you'll see where it sits. You'll see the hole so you can push your pin back through. Sometimes you got to give it a little love tap, a little persuasion. So what I do is I just kind of wiggle it and then just feel with your fingers across. You'll feel like an even bump on your pin that runs through the receiver here. So next thing is obviously let's just put this back together real quick. Real easy. Just Goes back on your rail here. It's really hard to mess this up, to be honest with you. It's real easy. I watched a YouTube video for the first time, you know, to do it. I tried to do it myself, and obviously get more into the more in depth on it. It's always good to know your gun, because you never know what's going to happen in the field. Doing this in the field is a little more pain in the ass, to be honest with you, because you don't want to lose stuff. So I'll put my bent charging handle. I already ordered a new one. It's coming. I'm going to keep that as an extra in case we lose it or break it. Or other one. So that's all good. When you have this apart, try not to let this slam up against there, because obviously with the barrel off there, it's gonna this is all gonna slide a lot further forward. So just be real careful with that. Okay. So we have everything back together properly here. Always checking here. You got a little spring in there. So when you're cleaning it, make sure you're checking this little spring. There, I always put a little dab of oil in there. And I use Q-tips a lot. Q-tips are nice for getting the oil in there and cleaning, obviously. Just watch for your residues. So before we do that, we got to put our receiver back on, or our foregrip on. So all you do is you're going to slide that up like that. It's going to pop right on there. Real easy. And just slide this all up through there. Boom. Make sure that's nice and taut on there, or nice and tight, because if you don't, you could have issues. I don't even think that's going to fire if you don't have it on there. It may, because the barrel needs to, obviously, for this to run in battery, is to make sure that it can slide up into its groove, up into that barrel. So usually what I'll do is I'll push this down, and boom, there, and make sure it's nice and tight. You'll actually be able to see if there's a gap there. You don't want any gap. So nice and tight. Don't use a tool on it. You don't need to. Just make sure you take this off every once in a while. Obviously, when you're cleaning it, you're going to take it off. But there was a time where I didn't clean my gun for almost an entire season, which was dumb. And that's when I couldn't get the choke out, and I couldn't get that end cap off without using tools. Lots of tools. And it was just a pain. So that is a real quick video on how to field strip, take down your gun to give it a good clean and visually inspect it. Like I said, I found out my charging handle was bent, and I guarantee that's from bouncing around in the back of the boat, you know, stacking guns on top of each other, not inside of there, and, you know, the dogs and everything else. It doesn't take a ton to bend this. You would think it would, but obviously I know this gun's never been dropped, at least in my hands, and I've never let anybody use it. So, not that I want it, but other than that, it's good. It's been a great gun for inertia. You know, the price is great on these. Again, this is the Pattern Master Code Black Goose. They also make the duck. I use this for turkey as well. This is my turkey gun as well. If you guys watch other videos, the other gun I use is the Brett A300 Ultima. Absolutely love that gun. We'll do a video on how to do that, dismantle that gun as well. So hopefully that helps you. It only takes a couple tools. Technically, you don't even need this one if you really don't. If you don't need it, if you can get your finger underneath that that one pin with the O-ring on it, and then I just use this punch here. So you don't need a punch. I mean, a lot of times you can find a screwdriver small enough you can push through. Just be careful not to mar all your stuff up. So other than that, make sure you guys go to the website. We dropped some new merch. Turkey season's upon us in the next few months. Can't wait. We just dropped the long beard. This is one of the versions of it. And then we have the other shirt that has the full back print of this. And then some hoodies we just added on. We'll add some more here real soon on the turkeys. So make sure you get over to 810outdoors.com. We got a ton of new merch. There's always sales going on. And use code Josh at checkout. Save you a little bit of money. So we'll see you guys on the next one.